We still have a little while to go until the Hoops are back in action, as we take on Dundee at Dens Park. However, that doesn't stop all of the Celtic news, and in today's video, as always, we'll go over all the latest from the club in the last 24 hours. That includes Souness talking nonsense about Celtic. There is so much to cover in today's video. And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic goalkeeper Joe Hart will take off his gloves for the final time after the Hoops' hotly anticipated Scottish Cup final against Rangers next month. The keeper came up trumps in the semi-final versus Aberdeen on Saturday, saving the decisive penalty in the shootout. It was all the more emotional that such an act would be one of the veteran's last of his career. He is on a limited time, having confirmed his retirement at the end of February, and questions have naturally been raised over what he will do when he isn't playing anymore. Speaking to Celtic fan media not long after his heroic antics at the weekend, the Englishman opened up about his long-term future. He said, "I've not taken any coaching badges. That was quite a conscious decision. I want to help and I want to give back, but I feel like there's different ways that I can help. I'll always be available to Celtic if they ever need to lean on me for anything I can help with. I've made the manager aware of that and I've made the club aware of that also. In terms of physically coaching a specific team, that's not something that I'm looking to do." When the 37-year-old's time playing comes to an end in a few months, his influence in the Celtic dressing room will be heavily missed. Scott Brown's departure in 2021 raised concerns over leadership within the squad, but there is an argument to suggest that the whole Hart will leave and the team could be worse. Brendan Rodgers does have a respectable few leaders in his ranks, but the experience, desire and passion Hart possesses is somewhat irreplaceable and arguably uncoachable. Just a quick one, boys and girls, to tell you that we have a new drop available on our website. We have the Brendan Rodgers Pope tee along with the Celtic Ultra t-shirts. Do browse the collection by going down to the link in the description or going to celticapparel.com. Anyway, let's get back into today's video. Graeme Souness is adamant that Rangers can still do the Celtic derby double to lift a stunning treble at the end of the season. The Ibrox outfit no longer have any games in hand over their rivals and sit 3 points behind with the final Old Firm clash of the campaign to be played at Parkhead on May the 11th. That Souness accepts leaves the Hoops clear favourites to retain their title, but the former player insists neither he nor any Gers fans or staff will give up on the trophy until it's mathematically gone. For Souness, he reckons Philippe Clement's side can shock their foes in the league derby before doing the same at Hampden in the Scottish Cup final to bag the 3 pieces of silverware. But he's been told by TalkSport co-host Simon Jordan to ditch his Ibrox bias and be realistic about the rest of the term. "It's Celtic's to lose," he said. "If Rangers can go there and win, you're still hoping Celtic drop something elsewhere because of the goal difference." Asked by show host Jim White if Clement needs to beat Celtic, Souness said, "Yes, in simple terms. If you're beating your biggest rival, whatever side of the city you're on, it generally means you're going to be winning the league. And Rangers haven't done that this season, but there's still time. You can't separate them. Rangers just have to win every single game and go to Parkhead and win a game of football, which isn't easy, and hope that Celtic drop some points along the line or score enough goals to make up the goal difference. I was at the game at Parkhead when they lost 2-1, and they played a long period of the second half with 10 men, and I thought they equipped themselves that day and looked like a team that were going to score goals in the second half after Celtic, as they always do at Parkhead, started like a house on fire. And then the game at Ibrox, Rangers didn't start well, and it was all Celtic, and the game should have been out of sight at half-time. Rangers regrouped and were the better team in the second half by a distance. There's not a lot between the teams. Of course, Philippe Clement has the players to go to Celtic Park and hand them and win. That's because you're showing your Rangers bias," Jordan said when pushed back upon Souness. "They haven't really laid a glove on Celtic, they haven't beaten them, and all that leads me to the conclusion that it leaves them in a situation where they don't win this league because they don't beat their major rival." Souness returned, "I've been in the media for a long time, the last 17 years, and you try all the time. I've watched Liverpool, Spurs, Middlesbrough even, and I say I am biased. Am I biased? I thought at Parkhead that Celtic could have been out of sight at half-time, but Rangers could easily have got something with 10 men. And at Ibrox a couple of weeks ago, the same thing applied. They could have won the game on another day, having been completely outplayed and outfought. So what am I saying? Just start well next time and don't go 2 goals down." The Celtic players and management will not take anything for granted. The minute you get into your armchair in the football world, then you'll become unstuck. And the same when you start talking a good game and say we've done this and that. So from Celtic's point of view, they still have to turn up every single game they play. The same applies for Celtic and Rangers as Liverpool and Man United. Every game they play is a cup final, so they can't rest on their laurels. For Rangers as well, getting back on the horse, they got a reaction and beat a good Hearts team and have to win every single game between now and the end of the season, and then they'll have had a good season. On a standalone 90 minutes, I felt the draw was better for Rangers and Celtic at Arbour. I was putting myself in both dressing rooms. I'm 2-0 up at half time, it gets back to 2-2, and then it's 3-2 to Celtic in the 91st minute, and Rangers think they've lost and ended up with a point. If you're in the Rangers dressing room, you're elated after that game, and Celtic will feel like they dropped points. After that, I'm thinking, Rangers will kick on here. It was a bit of a wake-up call, so I was thinking, get back to basics, make sure we're really on it for the next game. But they weren't and came unstuck, and that can happen in football. Then there was the Dundee game, but they showed a reaction on Sunday. Artur Boruc will make a return to Celtic next month, with the goalkeeper set to take the hallowed Parkhead turf in the club's legendary match against Borussia Dortmund. Having turned out for the boys for 5 years between 2005 and 2010, Boruc rapidly gained the nickname of the Holy Goalie. His iconic song will likely ring around Celtic Park when he returns. The now 44-year-old retired 2 years ago and is the next name in line of several stars and cult heroes who are making their way back to Glasgow at the end of the season. Indeed, the likes of Joe Ledley, Gary Hooper, Emilio Zagari and Scott Brown have all been confirmed to be playing in the charity game. In the peak of their powers, these players would make up a relatively respectable team, but in fairness, they are by no means over the hill yet. The match, for which tickets are still widely available, takes place on the day after Celtic's wholly anticipated Scottish Cup final with Rangers. It's well documented at this stage that Celtic need a transfer refresh in several positions this summer, regardless of what happens in the current title race. This season could end up being a very successful one for the boys. Brendan Rodgers' team are pushing for a league and cup double. For many, they are favourites to achieve just that. It remains true, however, that this group are yet to reach their full potential, and a few key additions in the upcoming transfer window will help Celtic push on again with new ambitions. One area that definitely needs a purchase is between the sticks, given Joe Hart's impending retirement, leaving the boys with a big gap to fill. The veteran shotstopper is hanging up his gloves, and neither Scott Bain nor Benjamin Cigarettes look likely to become a number one. The Sunderland Echo reports that Celtic have real interest in Sunderland goalkeeper Anthony Patterson, who has been almost ever present for the Black Cats for 2 seasons now. The 23-year-old is highly rated, and the Echo notes that the big cash-rich clubs such as Arsenal and Liverpool are also keen on his signature. That has pushed his value up beyond the £10 million mark, it's said, which would make him one of the most expensive Celtic purchases ever. The boys do have resources this summer, especially since they can potentially bank another season's worth of bumpy UEFA Champions League cash. However, it would be a surprise to see Celtic splash out on an 8-figure fee for a goalkeeper, even if someone has been identified as a long-term replacement for Hart. Patterson isn't the only goalkeeper to have been linked with Celtic this season. From Andrew Lunin to Kelleher, it's clear the boys are looking to show a bit of ambition and secure a stellar Hart alternative. Every supporter wants to see them do that as early as possible in the summer, with a smooth transition needed well before the season kicks off. Celtic fans, what do you make of what we discussed in today's video, in particular Graeme Souness' words? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video, guys. Make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you, take care, bye bye.